Hi, it's Wanda from Alanda Craft, and today we're going to show you how to make these really cute little rag quilts. Now this one here is a checkerboard design where we've just alternated two different fabrics, or you can do it like this where you have a border with a centerpiece. So we're going to do the checkerboard one today, but on our website we'll have the instructions on how to do this one as well. So let's get started. So what you're going to need is some fleece to make this rag quilt. So what we'll need for the back is 30 10-inch squares. So I have those cut here. And then for the front you're going to want two contrasting pieces because we're making a checkerboard. So you want 15 of each of those colours. And we're also going to need a piece to sandwich in between the front and the back. And it doesn't really matter what you use here. You can actually use fleece or felt or even batting. And it doesn't matter what colour it is because you're not going to see it. In the last rug you'll see that we used a white for the middle, and that's the only bit you're going to see of that. You're not going to see the whole square at any stage. So now we're going to construct our blocks. So what we need to do is we take one of our backing pieces and we lay it face down on our table. We take one of our middle pieces and we lay that on top and get it fairly even, get it as even as you can. And then we take one of our top pieces and we lay that on top, also right sides up. Okay, so we have our backing piece facing down, we have our middle piece facing up and our top piece facing up. Now we just do a quick check to make sure that everything is still running the same way. My hearts are running that way, my rabbits are running that way, so that's all good. So now that we've got it all nice and neat, we're going to pin it. And we're just going to pin it here on each side, just to hold it in place so that it doesn't move too much while we're sewing, because what we're going to do is we're going to be sewing a diagonal line from this point to this point and from this point to this point. So I've got some here that I've already started, and what you'll end up with is 15 of each of these. Remember, we need 30 blocks altogether, and because we're having a checkerboard effect we want 15 of each of these. So I've sewn all my blocks together and I've put the three pieces of fabric together. You can see the middle pieces there as well, all sewn with the diagonal crosses. So now we need to lay them out. So I have a directional print. I'm starting with the hearts. I need to make sure that the hearts are all running one way and that the flowers are all running one way. If you don't have a directional print you won't have to worry about that. You can just lay your blocks out. Now we're doing 5 blocks across and 6 down. So we lay them out like this. We'll do each row. The next row we'll start with one of those and then a heart. Okay, you get the idea. Right, so now how we're going to sew them together is we take first 2 blocks and just bring them up so that we've got the backs facing each other, and I'm just going to pin those. Now you want to make sure that they line up nicely. We're going to sew these with a 3/4 of an inch seam because it gives a really nice rug look when you've finished. It's raggy look. Okay, so just make sure that they all line up reasonably well. Okay, so we'll sew those two together like that so that the seam will be on the right side, and we'll do the same with these 2 squares here. And then once we've sewn those, I'll come back and we'll sew these 2 together, and then we'll just add on the extra one at the end. And we'll do that with each row until all our rows of 5 are sewn together. So I'll go and do that now. So I've sewn all my blocks together into rows, so now we're going to sew our rows together. Now we're not going to press anything at this stage, but we will just finger press the seams open because we want them open. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing again. Pick up our 2 rows, make sure that our backs are together. Okay, so we've got the right sides facing, and what we're going to do is we're just going to pin along the row, making sure that the seams are open, flat, and that they match nicely. So just pop pins in there, and we'll pin the rows together all the way along, doing exactly the same thing. And then we're going to sew it all with, again, a 3/4 inch seam. Now when you're sewing, you just need to watch that these the seam that's underneath away from you doesn't curl over and get caught in the machine. So when you're coming up to the seam lines, just stop and just check that your seams are nice and flat underneath. So I'll go and do that now. I'll sew my rows together and then I'll show you the next step. So I've sewn all the rows together, and now we're going to sew with a 3/4 of an inch seam all the way around the edge. Now we're going to flatten open our seams as we go, just because all of the rest of our seams are flattened open. So just remember, 3/4 of an inch all the way around the outside edge. So as you can see, I've sewn my 3/4 of an inch seam all the way around the edge. So the last step that we need to do is to create the ragged effect, or raggy effect, whatever you want to call it. To do that, we've got a pair of rag scissors. You can use ordinary scissors if you like, but these make the job so much easier and they're just so much more comfortable. So we'll take our scissors, and you can start anywhere, but you're going to have to do the rag effect everywhere. So everywhere there's a seam. So what we do is we come down here and we make sure that we don't cut into the seam line itself, and we just keep cutting along. Now this is a job for when you're sitting in front of the television and got nothing else to do. It does take a little while, but it's not hard. So we'll go and do that now and finish it, and then we'll show you what to do next. So now we've spent some time and we've actually finished cutting our seams with our scissors. So we have our rag scissors here, and we've done it at about 1/2 inch intervals, and we've done every seam. And so you can actually leave this quilt like this if you wish, but what we're going to do is we want the effect of the really washed out raggy look. So we're going to just throw it in the washing machine and into the dryer, and we'll bring it back and show you what it looks like. So there we are, it's all finished. We've washed it and dried it, and it's come up with this lovely shaggy look, and doesn't look just gorgeous. Now if you've enjoyed this tutorial, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel, where you'll find more great tutorials.